What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. This is going to be a fun one. We're going to be talking about filmmaking hot takes here on the platform, which is YouTube, and on set. So how this video is going to go moving forward, we're going to be talking about three categories, and we're going to fit these ideas into the three categories. So overrated, underrated, and misunderstood. God! Now I have a special guest with me, Edward Crockett. He's going to be giving his hot takes. He's a fellow filmmaker as well. So this is going to be a really fun one. But also big shout out to everyone who's given their opinions on my various platforms, from the community tab to Twitter. I actually highly recommend you read the Twitter thread. I'll put it in the description below. This might be helpful for someone who tends to overthink a lot of things when it comes to filmmaking and just making videos in general. We have a lot of, different things to think about as creators: cameras, camera settings, storytelling, all these things. It can get very overwhelming. That's why I do get a lot of questions. And I know those who make videos like me and put them on YouTube get a lot of questions about this, that, and the other. Not to say we're going to answer everything, and definitely this is just an opinionated thing, but I think there's going to be some gems in here that you can kind of take and learn from and take some principles from to kind of apply to how you should think about things moving forward if you're in this position. Okay, let's let it roll. All right, Edward, right off the top, give me your list of hot takes for filmmaking.
All right, so my hot takes for filmmaking, I've got the Sony Venice, open gate, film emulation, full frame, camera brands, and vertical video.
Dynamic range, renting, micro filmmaking, softening filters, and cinema cameras. Let's do overrated first.
First on my list for overrated, I've got full frame cameras, or just full frame sensors. I think you don't need a full frame sensor to make great video. So it's on my overrated list for that. Too many people think that's necessary. I don't think it is.
The Super 35 has been here for decades. It is the standard, right? So I totally agree that's an overrated thing to have. You can have it. There's so many nice cameras now that are affordable that's full frame. But just really think about, it's not really future proofing anyway. Like that, right. I hate that argument too. It's like, oh, it's future proofing. No, it is not. Like Super 35 cameras are future proof anyway. It's just a camera.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Cool. What you got on your overrated?
Yeah. So dynamic range is at the top of my list. I think is the most overrated topic here on this platform on YouTube, I think, because there's so many different factors that dynamic range contributes to. And it's not always the whole story when creators talk about it, right? To go a little bit more deeper into that, the camera is going to get you 40% there, the image that you want, right? Because you have cameras that have 13 stops of dynamic range, 14 stops, 15, 16, so on and so forth. And that's great. That's fantastic because, in the narrative context of things, narrative commercial, the camera isn't relied so much on the quality I can give. It is important, but the layering of light, the set production, the how you decide what time of day to shoot for light, all those things get you the rest of the way there to the image that you want to create. So dynamic range is important, but it's not the end all be all. And all these cameras right now do so well with image capture, but you got to just make sure you can massage that image and get the most out of your camera, right? That's how I think.
Yeah, so I guess at the end of the day, it just makes your job a little bit easier having more dynamic range, but you still need to light well. You still need to actually do the rest of the process and not just lean on the camera.
Exactly. Now, again, in context, I'm talking from a narrative and commercial space. Now, documentary, documentary, that's a little bit different thing because you don't know what lighting scenario you're going to be in. So having a camera that has a lot of data-rich information it can pull from, that's going to be very important to you. So it just depends what space you're in. But you shouldn't always let that be the determining factor in buying a camera, I guess, right?
Totally.
There's other things to think about for sure.
I agree. So my second overrated, and I actually do this, and I love the look of this. So I'm not dissing on this, but I think film emulation is overrated. I think it's done so often. Every commercial I see, it's like every cinematic commercial I see. It's just a lot of people are doing the film emulation look, and it's great, but we've been doing it for a couple of years now. Every old format comes back into style, if you will. And we want to emulate an old format. For a while it was VHS. Now it's film. VHS is probably still a thing. But it's what's going to come next after film? We're all trying to emulate film with our digital cameras. What are we going to do next?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I don't dislike it. I just think that like it's about to reach its like expiration in a way where then you're going to see your favorite DP doing something different and whatever.
Let's go to misunderstood. And
Okay.
I think softening filters are hugely misunderstood when creating when the conversation about it. So okay, already you guys know I'm kind of like a stickler, not stickler, but like I always come after Black Pro Mist.
You're a Black Pro Mist hater. You're a hater, bro.
I'm a hater because of the conversation around Black Pro Mist, because it does not make your videos look like film. And that's because true film, like say Kodak Vision 3, right? That film has contrast. Now we all like to say, it blooms the highlights and does. Film has a very organic way of rolling off that highlight and retaining that detail. That's what we want to achieve. But like when the Black Pro Mist is applied and it lifts like everything, I just don't like that look, especially on digital sensors. It just doesn't look that great, right? In my opinion. And so softening filters are more of an aesthetic choice. That's what they're for. I haven't seen a softening filter that makes something look like film yet, because it just doesn't look like that for me. So I think that's misunderstood.
I agree. Okay, I think camera brands are generally misunderstood because I think
unpack that one.
Yeah, I think we all want to stick with one particular camera brand, but you genuinely cannot buy a bad camera right now. Every brand has 10-bit offerings. They all have great dynamic range. That's not as important as I thought, but they all have like just really quality images. Even you can get the Nikon Z9.
The thing's,
I mean,
it rocks.
It's a beast.
It rocks.
A beast. So I think the idea of like there being a correct camera brand is just not. They all have even decent autofocus, unless you're like Panasonic
or Olympus.
Or Olympus. Yeah. Anyways,
But going along with what you're saying, I think another thing that's misunderstood in the market is what is a cinema camera, right? And I've been on this roller coaster because I've argued about it, like, a cinema camera is this, that, and the other. But a YouTuber, a fairly new YouTuber, Jared, he did a very good breakdown, I guess you can say, of that conversation. And, this has been talked about for at least 10, 12 years now, because since the boom of DSLRs, right? The 5D Mark II, right? That revolutionized mirrorless and DSLR filmmaking. And then the question started to come up because all these cameras started to get these raw external abilities or internal abilities or 422 10-bit, all these things that cinema cameras generally would hoard to themselves. Now it's available to the market. And all that being said, I think cinema cameras, there is a defined line in certain scenarios, but the ultimate scenario is that the user determines what is a cinema camera, because a DP can use an iPhone and create a movie and win festivals. So it's like the tool that you decide to pick is that cinema camera for the job. That's how I kind of see it. Yeah,
I like it. Yeah. Well, speaking of iPhones or whatever phones, my last misunderstood. I think vertical video is misunderstood. I think at the beginning of this year, there weren't a lot of filmmakers that are content creators or whatever posting vertical video. At this point, I think it's pretty across the board. You're seeing like...
And you're saying just like filmmakers, like people in our profession.
Specifically filmmakers. Yeah. I think more people are posting vertical video. I think the benefit of vertical video is just like it's where a lot of people are consuming content. Yeah. And so the more that we consume on vertical, the more we want to, like, I guess, create for it maybe.
And also, I think going along with that, our clients are wanting more vertical video. So,
bro,
like, go ahead.
I literally, I would say 75% of my freelance gigs right now
is vertical
are
content?
all vertical.
That's vertical. Wild. Yeah,
I shoot it. I don't even turn my camera. There's no other deliverable. It's just vertical.
Every sponsored video we do from either Moment or whatever, we always deliver a vertical cut to some extent, right? And our last biggest job of the year for 2016 is that we shot for Walmart, and that was an entire social media campaign for the holiday season this year. So you might have seen some stuff on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. But that was all, all shot for social media. So it's just like companies are wanting this, and so filmmakers, along with doing it for themselves, are doing it for their jobs too. So yeah, it's totally I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it's here to stay, I think. But I don't expect to ever watch a full-length feature film in vertical. I could be wrong, but
you say that.
I know.
You say that, but there's been a underlining culture of video movies being made. Back before COVID hit, I was going to get hired to DP a vertical film.
Bro, that's crazy.
And, yeah, it's here. It's here. I mean, I would agree. I wanted to do that project just because it's so different. But will it be popular amongst the masses? Probably not. But right now, a lot of people consume TikToks, and you said yourself just like these series on TikToks and whatnot.
There's people like have whole TV series on TikTok, and it's just like an episodic narrative thing.
It's becoming this new form, and it's a new form of content in this right place. I think it won't overtake one or the other. I don't think that's the case, but yeah, I totally agree with that.
So underrated. My first underrated. I'm going with the Sony Venice. I know we all know that that's an incredible camera. I know that like it's being used on more and more things. I just think it's like the underdog. Like
it's a sleeper. It's a sleeper cinema camera. Yeah.
100%. You've got Reds. You've got the Alexa Mini. Now the Alexa 35. There's like so many other choices that people go to before they go to the Sony Venice.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that because I know a handful of projects that have been shot with the Sony Venice. A couple of films this year have been shot with the Venice. Black Panther 2. They shot the music video.
It's Wakanda Forever, but yeah.
Yeah, Wakanda Forever. That's about Black Panther 2. A couple other films as well, but Maverick was shot. They used it for the cockpit shots. So because you can detach the sensor. That's such a modular camera system. The Sony Venice 2 is so versatile. Both of them are versatile, and that's a camera I've always liked the color science out of that camera the most. Out of all the other Sony cameras that are out there. But I mean, I haven't got my hands on one. Hey Sony, you want to hit me up?
Sony hit me up actually.
True. You're a better fit. My underrated one, I guess, will be renting gear. I say this because I always get asked across all my platforms, what camera should I buy? Or is this camera better than this camera or that camera, so on and so forth. And not to say I'm getting annoyed by it, but it's just like people want to avoid buyer's remorse. So they always want to go to those who think they've used that camera or used it to an extent. I haven't used all the cameras out there. Just newsflash, right? So my response to that here in the United States is that you have a plethora of companies that offer renting services to get the camera that you want to try out. And I think it's worth doing. So you won't have to have buyer's remorse if you pick up a camera based on my recommendation, whatever it is, and it doesn't work for you. Like we were saying earlier, like, cameras are a vanity thing, so you get the camera that you like, and if it has the features that you want, then sure, buy it. But like if you're unsure, rent it. Not just cameras, lenses and audio gear and lighting gear, all that stuff. Just test it out if you can, because I think it will benefit you in the long run.
Yeah. 100% spot on. That would have saved renting any of the cameras I bought in 2020 would have saved me.
Oh, please tell your story.
Yeah. So Joshua was right in the middle of this. I was kind of, if you've ever been there, I was kind of paralyzed by all the different choices on the market. And I went through, so I had, what I start with?
You had a Pocket 4K, right?
I had a Pocket 4K, so I sold that. A Zcam M4. I didn't really shoot anything with it. A C200. Somewhere in there, I had the ZV-1. My point is, if I had rented any of those cameras, I would have realized, okay, I don't need to own this camera. I ended up back with a Pocket 4K at the end of the year. And it's great. Like, I don't know why I left it. And now I have a FX3.
Yeah,
so
FX3. And if anything, if you if you're worried about like spending, like you should spend the extra money, your personal money, just to see if you want to get this camera. But if you have, I think you mentioned this before, if you have a production that's coming up and they have a renter and you quote a renting cost as well. So you can probably get that camera in hand a couple of days beforehand, or just there's certain ways to work around it. I tend to just personally rent the stuff that I want to try out. Or I'm
Yeah.
in this place right now where I can actually ask the company, say, hey, can I test this out for a few days? I have an Ursa G2 right now that I'm testing out. So it's like
Yeah.
there's certain things you can kind of just do to alleviate some of that stress when buying something that you're not sure about. And yes, you can come to us, you can talk to me and Eric, but like at the end of the day, you need to get it in your hands and test it out for yourself. So that's how I feel about that.
Spot on.
Spot on.
All right, next underrated for me, I think it's Open Gate.
Facts.
Bro.
Facts.
Open Gate recording on sensors.
It needs to be in every new camera in 2023.
Yes.
Just
Yes,
because
bro.
the way the market is moving, manufacturers, you guys need to just realize this is the tool that filmmakers want in their cameras. Before it was coveted by the bigger, more expensive cameras, and it started to trickle down to Z-Cam and now Fuji. Who else did it?
Yeah.
Panasonic.
Panasonic's done it.
Yeah, they did it for a while with their Micro Four Thirds Open Gate because of the anamorphic stuff.
I mean, it goes back to vertical video. It's like if you're shooting Open Gate, right? 16:9 is the full sensor, but the top's chopped off of it. So if you are shooting Open Gate, you get the top back, which means when you need to crop in here,
you don't lose anything
have a lot
from the top.
more.
Yeah.
You don't lose anything from the top. If I try to crop in on this 16:9, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna be pretty close.
You gotta reframe, you gotta recrop and all that stuff. Also, not just vertical, but it's made from multiple formats. Anamorphic.
Yeah.
You can shoot 3.2, 3.2 and 4.3. You can do 2 times anamorphic squeeze properly to get 2.4 to 1 or 2.39, whatever it is, whatever you want to get. So you have that option. It's just a very flexible resolution format that is a useful tool. Like again, we even though we didn't shoot Open Gate for the Walmart stuff, but the conversation is that we had to save a 9/16 and a 16:9, which made it challenging. It would be a little bit easier if it was Open Gate, but
I saw y'all had the frame guidelines up.
Yep. We had to save the 9/16, so that was the most important thing to frame, but also frame for 16:9. So it gets
Which
a little
is tough.
it gets tough, and it's a lot of reframing. Zooms help in that scenario a lot.
Yeah.
For sure, because you don't have to.
You could grab the shot for 16:9 and then run another take if you needed to.
Yep. In that same spot, so it won't be like too much. But no, I totally agree. I wish more cameras would have Open Gate.
Yeah.
A little spoiled with the XH2S right now. I was spoiled with Z-Cam too. Z-Cam did it for a long time too. So,
I mean, Open Gate alone has made me consider the XH2S because it's like I'm shooting only vertical stuff.
and it's just to rant a little bit more. Open Gate, just shooting in that 3.2 format is pleasing as well because I like square.
Yeah.
We all like square. It's kind of reminiscent of like Instagram, old photos, and all that stuff. And it's just a nice look. It's a really nice look. I mean, widescreen is widescreen, but like a square feels solid. If the composition feels weighted, I don't know. It's just something that looks good to me about that.
Yeah. I'm a fan.
For me, my last one for underrated is micro filmmaking, and I say this for me like a personal note because oftentimes my mind jumps to wanting to make big budget films, but I haven't laid my own groundwork to do the small stuff first. So the small stories I want to tell more often. Those are the things I think need to be done for me to reach my milestones that I have in mind. And micro and like people don't want. I know for myself. I should speak for myself. Sometimes I get in my head, I don't want to fail. I want to look like I'm doing it right. And that is the worst mentality to have because you don't do anything because you always psych yourself out. It's like, well, I don't think I can do that successfully. Then I just won't do it. And the idea of doing micro films is that you have all those failures you can build on and keep going to get better. So I need to put myself back in that space and just start making these microfilms and define what that is for me and all that other jazz. But that's what I think is underrated for me personally, and hopefully that's something that you all can relate to.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely inspiring to me. And I think a great example of someone who did that really well is like Danny Gevirtz. Like you saw him go through like all of these small spec ads type things that had a narrative bend to them. And then using that experience that he had with that low budget filmmaking, he was able to make a feature. So, I mean, we still haven't seen it, but it's like that's an example of someone who did that microfilm well and then leveled up and got a real budget. So
yeah, I mean, what was the budget? About $400,000. That's still considered a microfilm. It's low budget, a microfilm, but that's still a lot of money to kind of. I won't say it's a lot of money, but they made it work. It seems like I don't know if they stayed under budget for the film. It's always a good thing to stay under budget, but but hopefully, I mean, I got tickets for it, so I can't wait to see when it premieres here in. I think they're gonna have a premiere here in Chicago. Another filmmaker who's doing a big documentary is Eric Floberg, right? They're doing a doc for Joe. So like again, like those films, they kind of just took on themselves. Eric is financially supporting it mainly. He got some more sponsors coming in too, but those things, like those passion projects, those personal projects, will fuel me for sure, and it inspires me to kind of get out there. So that's what I'm trying to do this year or next 2023.
Yeah, I love it.
Sure.
Me too, honestly.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Cool. Hey, we did it. We got it done in 30 minutes. I mean, I think we can get this down to like a 20-minute video. That's way better than almost like 45 minutes.
Bro, we recorded for a whole hour last time.
Yeah, and we both screwed up.
Yeah, tough.
Cool.
Everything looks good though, so I'm not mad.
Cool, yo. Bro, thanks again. This was fun. We were a lot more dialed this time, so.
I feel like it's a genuinely better recording too.
All right, y'all. So this wraps it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again, Edward, for joining me. And here's to a new year, basically.
Let's go.
All right. See y'all. I'm gonna stop that.
Dope.